Hello and welcome to Nationwide, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. Now, this broadcast is being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live, and other social media handles displayed on the screen. The importance of consultations as a tool for promoting peaceful coexistence and national development in a democracy has been emphasized. This is the thrust of discussions at a Jumat lecture organized to commemorate the Nigerian 62nd independence anniversary at the National Mosque, Abuja. As the country heads towards the general elections next year, politicians and their supporters are advised to focus on issue-based campaigns that will promote peace, unity and development in the country.
Politicians start campaigning for our votes for 2023 election. We want issue-based campaigns, how to make Nigeria better in years to come, devoid of hate speeches, mudslinging, abuses.
The topic for today's public lecture is Shura, the Islamic foundation for true democracy.
If the principle of Shura is followed, it will create an opportunity for dialogue that enhances ethnic communication while promoting national cohesion and identity. This would go a long way to stemming intertribal and intercommunal and ethnic suspicion, animosity, aggression, and conflicts.
As leaders, we owe it a duty to provide good leadership. And going by the topic of today, of Shura, good leadership can be better achieved with the Shura, with the consultation, with the collaboration and partnership.
Now, in other news, President Muhammad Buhari says if the African Continental Free Trade Area is to succeed, African governments must demonstrate a higher level of commitment towards tackling the slow pace of physical integration, political cooperation and tariff barriers that inhibit business integration of the continent. Addressing the second African Sub-Sovereign Governments Network Conference in Abuja, the president described as worrisome that African countries are not trading enough amongst themselves. This story will come to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now, the anxiety of many Nigerians towards the 2023 general elections establishes the increasing political consciousness of the citizens. This development is a challenge that political parties must go to the campaign ground loaded with more innovative policies and programs for the people. Political correspondent Salihu Gwanara interacts with political actors who shared possible strategies for the task before them at the moment.
The time is here when Nigerian politicians, through their activities, are expected to include the year 2022 in the history book of Nigerian politics as a pre-election year. During the Third Republic in 1992, Rabi Al-Amin was 29 years when she was elected as a member of the Federal House of Representatives from Maiduguri Metropolitan Federal Constituency. Since the inception of the current Fourth Republic in 1999, Rabi Al-Amin, who has only been an observer in the political arena, shared experience on how Nigeria's unity in diversity can be strengthened using campaign messages.
No one candidate is better than any other candidate. We are all the same. Therefore, we should play politics according to the rules of it.
Ensure issue-based campaign. Say what you've done. If you had been someone that has been on that position, what have you done? And for those that have not been opportune to be in office and are angling to be on the safe side, let them talk about what makes them qualified for that position.
Everybody comes to an issue. Is it from the north? Is it from the south? Is it from the north central? Is it from the east? Those are not the kind of attitudes that make for nation building or to build a strong country.
From presidency down the ladder must be able to engage in the fundamental issues that affect us as Nigerians. Therefore, it means that whoever is going to lead this country next to must pay attention to that.
Like many others, Rabi Al-Amin is hopeful that 2023 electioneering activities will be an improvement over others in order to sustain and promote the political participation of both the old and the young. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Now, the Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal filed by the Dan Obi's faction of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. The five-man panel of justices of the Apex Court, led by Justice Amina Adamu Ogi, gave the verdict in Abuja. Dele Atumbi reports.
The cause of action in this matter is the two parallel congresses held on the 30th April 2022 by the two factions of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. One faction to the dispute is loyal to Governor Godwin Obaseki, and the other faction is loyal to the vice chairman of the party in charge of South-South. At the Federal High Court in Abuja, the trial court found for the Dan Obi's faction as the group that conducted the authentic Congress in the matter filed by 581 delegates in representative capacity. In the suit, PDP, its national chairman Yosha Ayu, Senator Samuel Anyawu, Umar Bature, and INEC were listed as first to fifth defendants. The verdict of the trial court was challenged at the Court of Appeal in Abuja by the faction loyal to Governor Obaseki. Delivering judgment in the appeal on July 25, 2022, the appellate court held that the ad hoc delegates election of the Edo State PDP remains part of the domestic affairs of the party, for which the court cannot interfere under pre-election litigation. The Court of Appeal equally ruled that since the cause of action was an internal affair of the party, the trial court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the matter. This decision of the appellate court was what the Dan Obi's faction brought before the Apex Court. In a unanimous judgment read by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the court held that the Federal High Court as the trial court lacks jurisdiction and want of proper parties before it. The Apex Court held that the cause of action in the matter was an internal affair which robbed the court of jurisdiction. The Supreme Court upheld the decision of the Court of Appeal. The Apex Court was of the view that under Section 84, subsection 14 of the Electoral Act 2022, only an aspirant in party primary has the locus standi to institute a matter of this nature and not delegates. The court thereby dismissed the appeal for want of jurisdiction. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Now, political party campaigns have officially been declared open, and presidential candidates and party chairmen of various political parties have signed the first 2023 National Peace Accord with an undertaking to focus on issue-based campaigns devoid of incitements, personal insults and attacks. Dennis Adegunloye spoke with some personalities in the race for the top offices to gauge their views.
The significance for us is that we have yet ushered ourselves into another period where commitments are extracted for various political parties to participate meaningfully and responsibly in electing the new government in Nigeria.
We are doing something that's becoming a culture.
which is peaceful transfer of power. And the players are the politicians. And once we get the politicians to commit to an institutional process by which we can have peaceful transfer of power, it is clear that the 18 Nigerians who are going to show up today, one of them is going to be the president of Nigeria. And if all of us are committed to peace, committed to a process that guarantees peace now, during the campaign, during the election and after the election, then we are going to start on a peaceful note for the next administration.
The essence of this is to ensure that first we must have a country, we must have a peaceful environment before we can talk of election. So without Nigeria, we can't have democracy. Without peaceful coexistence, we can't have election. So what this is to commit all political actors into agreeing to conduct the electioneering in the atmosphere of peace and harmony.
To education matters now, the National Examinations Council, NECO, has released the 2022 Internal Senior School Certificate Examinations with 727,864 candidates representing 60.74%, obtaining 5 credits and above, including in English and mathematics. The Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of NECO, Professor Anthony Ibrahim Mushishi, who officially released the results, says 13,594 candidates were involved in various examination malpractice. Fatima Usman reports.
Analysis of 2022 NECO Internal Senior School Certificate Examination results when compared to that of the 2021 shows a significant decrease of 10.9% in the total number of candidates that obtained 5 credits including English and mathematics, with 727,864 candidates attaining that feat in the 2022 examinations. While acknowledging a symbolic drop in the number of cases of malpractice, the NECO Registrar, Professor Anthony Ibrahim, attributed it to the long-standing tradition for zero tolerance for malpractice, saying drastic measures have been taken against erring candidates.
Number of candidates who made 5 credits and above, irrespective of English language and mathematics, is 1,011,457 candidates, representing 84.40%.
NECO boss also hinted that the backlog of the Basic Education Certificate Examination certificate from 2012 to 2021 will soon be ready for distribution to schools. In Mina, I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
Time to join Adeola in Lagos for more stories. It's over to you, Adeola.
Thank you, Lami, and welcome to Lagos. We begin with the Minister of Transportation. The federal government will explore opportunities with regards to inclusive innovation and new technologies to accelerate the transition of the maritime sector towards a greener, zero, low-emission future. Minister of Transportation Muazu Sambo, at an interactive session with stakeholders in the maritime industry to mark the World Maritime Day, said the action is necessary to tackle climate change in the maritime domain. Abolade Salami reports.
Falling back on statistics released by the International Maritime Organization, the shipping industry consumes 300 million tons of fuel every year, representing 3% of the world's carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere. Minister of Transportation Muazu Sambo said the discussion around new technology for greener shipping is timely, going by the heightened challenges of environmental hazards with its effect on coastal erosion, waste management, and energy efficiency.
The entire maritime community has a role to play in bringing about a greener and sustainable maritime industry in the areas of resource mobilization, maritime training, awareness, job creation, and full implementation of maritime laws and regulations.
We need to do everything possible to reduce this carbon emission. We are talking of net zero. But everything that we need to do to achieve that lies in the realm of science, technology, and innovation.
The industry players alluded to the submission that bringing environmental efficiency and digitalization to the maritime industry will change the mode of operation from solely depending on revenue generation to environmental sustainability.
Nigeria plans to cut greenhouse gas emission intensity by 20% by 2030 and pledges a further 45% reduction conditional on receiving climate finance, technology transfer, and capacity building. And the fact that the port is fully automated means that ships will spend lesser time in the port, thereby reducing fuel consumption.
Nigeria, as a member of the global community that has demonstrated a commitment to all the United Nations climate initiatives, stakeholders say will contribute to the contemporary global efforts designed to ensure a safe environment and responsible use of resources in all sectors of human activity, including shipping. In Lagos, Abalade Salami, NTA News.
There is no doubt that bakers and other allied operators in Nigeria's confectionery ecosystem are reeling from the global shortfalls in the supply of wheat flour, the chief ingredient in bread making. To sustainably roll back the negatives, a 20% inclusion of high-quality cassava flour as ingredient is one of the options on their table. Abalade Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
Rate of 7.2 billion loaves of bread, an average of 5.4 trillion naira worth of bread is said to be consumed in the country yearly. To keep churning out this volume of bread and other confectionaries, about 6 million metric tons of wheat, the chief ingredient and the third most consumed grain in Nigeria, has to be imported, gulping about $2 billion annually. With a dwindling profit margin amidst rising cost of importation, the likes of Samuel Titilope, a bread maker and cassava processor, are now looking onward for cheaper and healthier alternatives in high-quality cassava flour.
We can put up heads together and we really put things in place, and we are able to get the formation and the additives for it.
The advocacy wasn't strong enough, but now that the Ukrainian crisis has triggered the rising cost of flour, we have no choice than to begin to backward integrate, and so looking into our local domestic options is actually the way and proactive way forward.
At different times in 1964, 1982, 2004, 2009 and 2012, several efforts to push the inclusion of cassava flour in bread making have suffered setbacks, costing the nation about 63.5 billion naira, which will have been saved from foreign exchange or with importation with just 20% cassava flour inclusion.
If there is no legislation, that will be a problem. So I think we need to get that legislation in place, and once that we get that legislation in place, the flour miller will be compelled to include whatever percentage of cassava flour that is agreed in this legislation.
We conducted a study called the glycemic index determination on the bread from using the composite flour containing a certain percentage of cassava, and we discovered that even the bread is healthier.
For the 20% cassava flour inclusion to be sustained, about 1.2 million metric tons will be needed by millers every year, raising the question of how to ensure adequate supply of high-quality cassava flour.
The issue of capacity, which we of course come, because if it is embraced, then we need to improve capacity.
With the renewed enthusiasm on the part of bakers, a legislation to further drive the adoption of cassava flour as raw material may be all that is needed to make the cassava flour value chain assume its full potential, generating about 3 million jobs. In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Nationwide will continue with Salamatu in Kaduna after this break. To stay with us.
And glad to have you join us here in Kaduna. A one-day regional conference to find lasting and sustainable solution to child begging among some children of school age, especially in northern Nigeria, has ended in Zaria with a far-reaching decision to have a coordinated approach between traditional rulers and Islamic scholars to improve Almajiri form of education. This problem-defied solution, despite various efforts and strategies to modernize Almajiri's school system. Tina Toru reports.
The phenomenon of street begging among children of school age has been a worrisome issue. There were several measures in the past to address the problem, but without corresponding success. Government at all levels and critical stakeholders have introduced various measures to enhance access to formal education among these children.
There's a program in place which the state has to support to actually formalize, to transform the Almajiri system.
Pupils should be taught how to learn Islamic education and Quranic recitation in very good and friendly atmosphere.
The Regional Conference of Traditional Rulers and Concerned Citizens in Zaria is to strengthen collaboration in addressing Almajiri issues in northern Nigeria. It provides a platform for the Emir of Zazzau, Ambassador Ahmad Nuhu Mali, to emphasize on the need for collective synergy in taking these children off the street.
We have to, accept that this is our fault. I will have to address it so that at least our children, can acquire Islamic education without having to go around begging for food or shelter.
In their various submissions, speakers denounced cultural inhibitions, especially among indigents. They call for stiffer measures in preventing child rural to urban migration and also come up with a coordinated approach in moderating Sangaya schools in line with what is obtainable in Islamic nations. Tina Turu, NTA.
The Nigerian Immigration Service is advocating a multi-stakeholder approach in its fight to bring an end to the menace of migrant drug smuggling in the country. Yohannes Hassan reports that the campaign, which is the first of its kind, is expected to last for 5 years.
Records by the National Bureau of Statistics reveals that Nigerian rate of migrant smuggling is on the increase, with thousands of people traveling to Europe for white-collar jobs. Against this backdrop, the Nigeria Immigration Service organized a campaign to bring the rate down the ladder, if not bringing it to an end. Personnel of the Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs Service, Civil Defense Corps, Federal Road Safety Corps, and road transport workers all assembled here for the same mission. Muhyiddin Abdurazak is one of them.
So this particular program, sensitizing them and educating them on the menace and challenges of trafficking in persons and irregular migration, it will go a long way in reducing or curbing the crime.
And it's affecting us as a people, it's affecting the nation, it's affecting our economy, it's affecting our security, because a lot of our young people, professionals, are leaving the country.
The Say No to Smuggling of Migrants nationwide sensitization campaign is a 5-year crusade with the target of fighting smuggling of persons. In Kano, Yohannes Hassan, NTA News.
And that is it from Kaduna. We now rejoin Lami Ali for more reports in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Salamatu. Now, from a humble beginning with only one terminal in 1982, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, has not only grown to become 5 terminals after 4 decades, but plans to double its current daily 65 flights and 11,774 passengers in the nearest future. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Anyimiru tells us more on this development so far.
Before the first commercial flight, which was Cabo Airlines operating from Kano to Lagos en route Abuja on the 29th of September 1982, Abuja Airport has been operating cargo services conveying construction workers. With just one domestic airline 40 years ago, the airport currently has 8 domestic airlines operating on daily average of 65 flights and 11,774 passengers, as well as 12 international carriers with an average of 10 flights and 3,034 passengers. With so much achievements, but not without challenges.
The rate of growth of the airport at the time was not commensurate with growth of infrastructure. So the management of the airport really suffered during that time. But as of today, I mean, they have brand new terminal building, international terminal, and they've converted the old terminal into a domestic terminal.
What is the likely trajectory for another 40 years?
The federal government has approved the construction of the second runway for the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, and this project is being approved, and I think the project will start anytime from this moment.
We are inculcating the culture of discipline, whereby staff stay to be as professional as possible.
So far, the Buhari administration rehabilitated the Abuja Airport runway in 2017 and in 2018 completed a new international terminal with a passenger processing capacity of 15 million per annum. Emmanuel Anyimiru, NTA.
It's the turn of communities in Taraba State as federal government sustain interventions in deploying solar mini-grids across the country to power rural communities not connected to the national grid. Joshua Ojito reports that the intervention initiated and executed by the Federal Ministry of Power is to close energy gap in rural areas.
Thought-out initiative by the Federal Ministry of Power and implemented under the Renewable Energy Micro-Utility Program excites rural communities in Taraba State as federal government light up rural areas not connected to the national grid.
We enjoyed our 24-hour light. We enjoyed like fan, television. You can watch whatever system you want to applied on.
With rural areas in most states listed to benefit in the first phase of the intervention, the initiative demonstrates Nigeria's commitment in the implementation of action plan and strategy on climate change while providing power supply to households, small-scale businesses and local facilities. On the mandate of President Muhammadu Buhari, Senator representing Taraba Central, Yusuf Abubakar, inaugurates the solar mini-grid in Tella community of the state.
This project is not just to provide electricity, it is also going to empower, our people, wealth creation and the rest.
This project has a capacity of 150 kilowatt peak of solar and is servicing more than 107 communities and also more than 50 to 60, productive uses.
With expected gains on boosting rural economy and create jobs, it behoves on benefiting communities to take ownership of the projects. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
The Central Working Committee of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, in a meeting with its Board of Trustees and Zonal Officers, says action plans have been put into perspective for its members to key into the federal government's implementation plan on national policy on gas. Kenneth Nanim reports that the meeting ended with a resolve to remain committed to service delivery.
The National Policy on Gas is part of government strategies to promote investments in gas exploration as alternative means for generating revenue and drive economic growth. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, a critical stakeholder in the oil and gas industry, is taking advantage of the policy to progress in its services to the public. Through its Central Working Committee meeting, IPMAN is mopping up ideas from its Board of Trustees and zonal representatives to be part of the government initiative.
Most of the world now, countries of the world, when you go, in terms of their vehicles or trucks, you find even cooking at home, most of them they have gone back to CNG and LPG. So that is why we too in Nigeria, as independent petrol marketers of Nigeria, we want to replicate and assist the government key into their program to show that we are serious, to the system. And we all thanks to God that we have gotten the investors and we are ready to kickstart it.
The meeting is also intended to mainstream other issues, slowing down its operations with a view to perform optimally. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
In the Nigeria Police Force is engaging Police Community Relations Committee in ensuring that policing is all-inclusive with a view to overcoming the security challenges being faced in the country. Francis Form reports.
Stakeholders in community policing converged on Abuja to brainstorm on modern ways of tackling crimes in the society. Over the years, criminals have adopted different methods in carrying out their acts. There was a time when members of the community, on their own volition, arrest criminals in their locales and hand them over to the police for prosecution and sanctions. But as time goes by, the society became more complicit by covering up criminals amongst them and even offering protection for them against the law enforcement agents.
The primary purpose of establishing PCRT is to partner with the Nigeria Police Force in order to give a say by members of the general public.
The police training curriculum has been upgraded to cater for the requisite knowledge base for effective societal participation in investigating crimes and, of course, arresting criminal elements.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, in a message notes that crime has grown in different dimensions.
My office has strengthened its capacity to support the police by commencing a program to sensitize the civil populace to support the efforts of our security agencies.
The stakeholders' engagement is also an opportunity to celebrate a retired former Inspector General of Police, Let Etim Enyang, for initiating the Police Community Relations Committee in crime fighting. Francis from NTA News.
We have Larry standing by with trending stories from Ibadan. It's over to you, Larry.
Lami, this is Debola. Welcome to Ibadan. Muslim faithful in Oyo State today joined their counterparts across the country to commemorate Nigeria's 62nd independence anniversary at a special Jumat service held at Oyo State Government House Central Mosque, Ibadan. Correspondent Rafia Animasha Badmos reports that Governor Seyi Makinde enjoined all and sundry to pray towards the success of the forthcoming general elections.
Delivering the sermon tagged "Strength Lies in Unity," Imam Rufai charged the people to be righteous at all times, embrace what is good, and forbid the evil for the progress of Nigeria. He said Muslims and non-Muslims alike should imbibe the spirit of oneness and live harmoniously with one another to defend external attack.
If we agree to be one and we allow fear of God to come back to our life, definitely everything also will come back to our life.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde represented charged the people to be astute in their voting and avoid elevating issues that are not necessary.
The message, all Nigerians must unite and be well focused, because in unity we will all achieve our dreams. And the slogan is united we stand, divided we fall.
Partial Jumat service to commemorate Independence Day anniversary 2022. Nigerians have been urged to be steadfast in prayers, oneness, and maintain unity in diversity for a peaceful nation. In Ibadan, Wafia Animation Badmos, NTA News.
Revamping the science laboratory technology geared towards enhanced development of science education in the country has been re-emphasized. The Chairman, House Committee on Science Research Institute, Olaide Akinremi, stated this at a workshop for science teachers in Ibadan. Shola Waid was there and our reports.
The workshop centered on knowledge acquisition on the practical use of science laboratory kits for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Speakers at the event stressed that the functions of science laboratory technology to the development of a nation cannot be overemphasized.
So, increase the knowledge base of our instructors. You know, is when they know, they understand, is what they knowledgeable about, they will teach our children.
We are now encouraging the state governors, not only Oyo State, but other 35 states in Nigeria, to also imbibe the culture of giving technologically to their students.
At least annually, sessionally, this type of workshop should be taking place.
Majority of the honorables we have in the National Assembly should kind of emulate this gesture and expand this to all their constituencies so that everyone can benefit from this.
Some participants spoke on the importance of the workshop.
You only have teachers to teach, you do not have lab scientists to work with, no lab technologists to assist in practicals.
As a science teacher, I can't afford to be stagnant. Things are changing, so and as things are changing, we also have to move with technology.
The events featured presentation of laboratory equipment to some schools and special training session for some science teachers in Ibadan. Shola Wahid, NTA News.
That's it from Ibadan. Sadia in Sokoto takes it up from here after the break. Stay tuned.
Join us in Sokoto. In commemoration of Nigeria's 32nd anniversary, special prayers have been held in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Detti completes the report.
Chief Imam of Sultan Bello Jumaat Mosque, Malami Akwara, led the special prayer session. Prayers for God's intervention for Nigeria to overcome its security challenges were offered. Sokoto State Governor Amin Waziri Tambol was represented by his deputy, Manar Muhammad Naiya, in company of members of the State Executive Council. State Commissioner for Home Affairs, Abdullah Yusuf Hausawa, said the prayer is an annual session where prayers for the nation, fallen and serving heroes are offered.
We did the special prayer for the first and present leaders of this country and the issue of the security of this country.
The prayer session had in attendance representatives of security outfits in the state. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Part of efforts to curtail indiscriminate cutting of trees and mitigate environmental degradation, Sokoto State Government is training 100 youths on how to convert waste as an alternative source of energy. The exercise was put together by Ministry of Environment under the Forestry Department. Sheikh Muhammad Adalat Abdullahi reports.
The menace of cutting down trees as sources of energy has continued to be a threat to the environment, especially in developing countries, without minding the consequences. To achieve the Sustainable Development Goals of finding alternative sources of energy by 2060 as committed by President Muhammadu Buhari, Sokoto State Government is set to train 100 youth in that direction. Drawn from 23 local government areas of the state, the youth are to be trained on how to use waste briquettes as sources of energy to mitigate climate change and environmental degradation. They are also expected to train another set of trainees at their various localities and promote tree planting campaigns.
This is one of the alternative energy source and is in line with Goal 17 of the Sustainable Development.
Flagging off the training, Sokoto State Governor, represented by Commissioner for Environment Aliyu Balarabe Dandimahe, said government would continue to come up with policies and programs to safeguard the environment.
When we came on board, we consistently ensured the launching of the annual tree planting exercise, which was carried out in different locations of the state.
Professor Mustafa Ibrahim from Department of Geography, Osman Danfodio University, Sokoto, who spoke on climate change, said man-made activities contributed to these challenges. He maintained that adopting other means of energy remains critical and government must demonstrate commitment. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's it from this end. It's now back to Lami in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with one of the founding fathers of Ekiti State, Chief Deji Faswan, an industrial economist who turns 91 October 1st, 2022. The President rejoices with the Faswan family, the people and government of Ekiti State as they celebrate the Jagumulu Fado Ekiti and Ashuaju of Afar Ekiti at the landmark age, giving thanks to God for the gift of longevity. President Buhari celebrates a life devoted to the service of the community, state and country, particularly as one of the builders of public service in the former Western region and founding General Manager of Investment Corporation, the most successful arm of the old Ondo State government. President Buhari wishes Pa Faswan good health, sound mind and peace as he turns 91. Now, flooding and its devastating impacts across some parts of the country is now setting a new agenda for the Nigeria Governors Forum with a commitment towards addressing the ecological challenge. This came after an exhaustive meeting on the disaster and other issues of national critical concerns. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
The Nigerian Governors Forum is driving a holistic approach with elaborate efforts of the federal government to mitigate flooding. The forum says the disaster has become a national emergency which requires urgent solution to assuage the sufferings of victims.
We know the president himself is concerned about it, and NEMA, the National Emergency Management Agency, has been doing some work on it, but we really want to intensify that effort. The truth of the matter is that climate change has redefined the world. Even in countries that you would imagine would be better prepared than ourselves.
The forum also expressed concerns on the proposed privatization of power plants and other issues plaguing the nation.
Let me say categorically that governors are not averse to privatization per se. That's not the issue. We are concerned about the process involved in the current attempt to privatize the plans.
Nigeria Governors Forum appreciates federal government's determination to end the lingering ASU strike and urge to both parties to amicably resolve the impasse. Chairman of the forum officially announced Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal of Sokoto State as his interim successor as he prepares to vacate office come 12th October 2022. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
As Nigeria and China commemorate their National Day, the essence of promoting culturally sustainable societies resonates in talks between both nations. Juliana Nicholas reports that the relationship between both countries was applauded at the 2022 China-Nigeria Cultural Week ceremony held in Abuja.
Culture plays an important role in the history of every nation, and this defines as well as differentiates people and races. It is also, in some cases, the glue that sticks people together. Like Nigerians, Chinese are people with great sense of value for their culture, and they are always willing to share with the world. This perhaps explains why arts and culture formed the theme of this year's National Day celebration, and the pattern set to deepen national unity for both countries through cultural cooperation. To this effect, a short film competition screening spiced the event.
I assure you that China and Nigeria will stand shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, work together to promote our win-win cooperation and create a more beautiful tomorrow.
So this program has a very rich program developing our youth for a bigger tomorrow and a better tomorrow.
When we teach the younger ones, it helps them to be more creative. It makes them to have more talent.
Overall winner Solomon has no doubt that these dogged efforts towards strengthening cultural ties and coexistence between Nigeria and China will usher in opportunities to the youths and the society.
When opportunities like this come, it makes people feel that their work's actually worth something. Being appreciated for what you do and what you love is a big thing.
Juliana Nicholas, NTA News.
And for the forthcoming national population census to achieve the desired results, synergy between the Commission and key stakeholders is a factor that must not be compromised. This was the position reached at a one-day stakeholders forum hosted by the National Population Commission in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi state capital. Abubakar Garbadigi was there and now reports.
National head counts provide information on size, location, and characteristics of a population being backbone of national statistical system. To lend the credence to this fact, Kebbi State Governor Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu represented, said considering the importance of the population and housing census, all available resources will be deployed by the government to make it a success. He expressed confidence on the activities of the forthcoming exercise, describing the move so far as commendable. The Federal Commissioner and National Population Commission Halu Balaji Kandodu said the objective of the summit was to create awareness on the conduct of the exercise with special reference to importance, methodology, and timeline. The Commissioner lauded the effort by the stakeholders in the state, especially the 21 local government chairmen, the traditional leaders, and the media houses in ensuring hitch-free exercise come 2023 in Birnin Kebbi. Abubakar Garbadigi.
And let's join our sports desk for an update from the world of sports.
The much anticipated 70th Annual General Assembly and Elective Congress of the Nigerian Football Federation NFF is in progress in Benin City, the Edo State capital. It is expected that at the end of the proceedings, a new NFF Executive Committee will emerge to pilot the nation's football affairs for the next 4 years.
We expect at the end of the day we have somebody who has the care or the concern of Nigerian football, how Nigerian football will grow. We pray that the person that will win the election will be somebody that will change Nigerian football, you understand, to next level.
Definitely we are going to have a peaceful election.
Nigeria's representative at the CAF Champions League, Plateau United, have been talking tough ahead of their clash with Experience of Tunisia come Sunday in Abuja. The team is battle ready to give everything to ensure that they triumph in the first leg against the Tunisian Football Club. Plateau United defeated Asos Ted Baji from Gabon on aggregate of 3-2 to qualify for the second round preliminary stage. Action resumes in the English Premier League this weekend after the international break with 10 games up for grabs. On Saturday, Arsenal host Tottenham in early kickoff as Fulham meet Newcastle while Wolves visit West Ham United. The Manchester Derby is slated for Sunday. Saturday's fixtures between Liverpool and Brighton and Hove Albion will be live on NTA at 2:30 p.m. Meanwhile, former world champion Jigere Wellington will lead 9 others to defend Nigeria's pride at the 14th Africa Scrabble Championship slated for October 21st to 24th, 2022 in Lusaka, Zambia. The 10 athletes qualified for the championship after competing in a 2-day event. Nigeria has won 12 out of 13 editions of the African Scrabble Championship. With sports update, Larry Bulayi, NTA News.
And that's it on Nationwide. Join us at 7 and 9 for more stories. I'm Lami Ali. Have a beautiful weekend.